Alright, let's look at this one here. Okay. Let's again just try values and see what happens. Let's go f of 2 is equal to negative 4, 1 over 3 to the 2. So it'll be negative 4 times 1 squared over 3 squared. Okay. Which then in turn is equal to negative 4 times 1 over 3 over 9, which is 4 ninths. Okay. Alright, well, let's try another value. So let's remember this. 2 and, sorry, should be negative 4 ninths. Negative 4 ninths. Let's try a larger number. Let's try 3. Oops, sorry. Negative 4 over 27. Okay. You're gonna need a bigger board. So 3 and negative 4 over 27. Okay, well, what's going on? Well, if you look here, as we get larger and larger in the x direction, this denominator here is going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay? Or excuse me, larger and larger and larger. The denominators, let me repeat, the denominator is going to get larger and larger and larger. Okay, which means that the number itself, the value of it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. However, since it's a negative, the number is actually getting it's getting bigger. Okay? So this here is the one that we're talking about, because as we move in the x direction, this line keeps etching closer and closer to the 0 value. Okay? It turns out it's never going to get to 0. Okay? Because you're always going to be dividing by something. We might be dividing by a very large number. Okay, but it's never going to reach 0. Alright, and what this line is called an asymptote. Okay? And each one of these functions has an asymptote. It's just that it's not readily visible. Okay? And it actually ends up being that the x-axis is an asymptote for all of them. So over here on this first one, as this keeps going down, 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 it's going to get really close to the x-axis, but it's never ever going to touch it or cross it. Same is true here. This is going to get closer and closer and closer to that x-axis, but it's never going to touch it or cross it. And same here, and also same here. Okay. So this one here, I'm going to associate with number C. Okay. I know this is probably difficult to read. You might have to watch this one a couple of times, and it's not exactly short. I know. Okay. So that leaves this one here for this graph here, this function and that graph. Okay. And let's kind of reason what's going on. First off, it's a negative value. No matter what happens, we're not going to escape that. Okay. Well, this is a number that is larger than the number 1. Okay, it's a 3. So when we plug values in for x, this number here is getting bigger exponentially. Right? I put a 2 in there. 3 times 3, 9. Okay. I put a 3 in there. 3 times 3, 9. 9 times 3, 27. Okay? The number is going to keep getting bigger. Right? Put 4 in. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 81. Okay? Okay? So, what's happening is that as this number gets really big, we then turn around and multiply it by this negative here, meaning that it's getting really big in the negative direction. Okay, so it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. In a way, it's actually smaller and smaller because it's negative. But we can call it bigger in the negative direction. Okay? So this one here is B number 3. Sorry that one took so long.